Now, where do I
Hi everybody
start?
and welcome back to Let's Play
Futaba's
Persona
mother
5.
and I knew each other long before
So
Futaba
last time
was
out
born.
we went
Mother
over
was a
to
bit of a
Sojiro's
weird
house
one,
to
but
try and
we got along well for some reason.
get
She
in
was
contact
sharp-witted,
with Futaba
somewhat stern, a little socially
and find out what the hell was going on.
always carefree.
And at the beginning of this part,
She
we're
truly
actually going
was
to
a
be
great woman.
talking with Sojiro and he's going to be finally telling us
When something piqued her interest,
what the
that'd be
hell
all she focused on.
Futaba's deal is,
She
what
always
is
worked deep
going
into
on with
that.
her.
I thought that
and all that
had
kind of
changed
thing.
after her kid was born. But having Futaba didn't do
Um,
much. Even with that.
But yeah, but
she
it's
always
basically
took good
never
care of
outright stated, I don't
Working
think.
and watching over a child at the same time sounds
It's I don't think it's ever outright stated,
I
but
guess raising Futaba
it says
alone turned out to be tough on
Sojiro
her
says right at
in
the
more
beginning
ways
here
than
that
one.
he knew Futaba's mother for a long time before she was
There wasn't a
born.
father.
Do you mean...
Before Futaba was born.
There probably was one. I didn't know him though. She never said a word about him either. She was single when she gave
You know,
birth
he
to
knew her
Futaba,
for a long time
and
before
single when she
Futaba was
raised
born.
her. They were an ordinary, loving family.
But it's never
Really
outright
tell how
stated, I
much
think,
she
whether
cared
it
for
was,
Futaba.
you know, a friendship kind of relationship or whether he,
One day she left,
you know,
leaving
dated
Futaba
her for a
behind.
while. It's never outright clearly stated. My apologies.
Yes. She committed suicide.
suicide.
So yeah, this is the
Threw
big
herself
bombshell
into
where we
the
find out
street,
that Futaba's
Right
mother
in front of Futaba's eyes.
created
Shocking to
committed
begin to
suicide by
describe.
throwing herself in front of a car
It's gotta be devastating
right in
for a
front of
kid.
Futaba, which you
So,
know, given that she's
Well,
Futaba's
a lot
like
happened after
shut in,
that,
doesn't
but
really
I
want to
ended up
see
taking
anybody,
custody
doesn't
of
want to talk
Futaba.
to anybody.
First, she
You
was
can
so
kind of
depressed,
understand
she
why.
wouldn't even talk to me.
Was
She's
that
so
because she couldn't
screwed
get over
up.
her mother's suicide?
you know, because
Kept
of the,
talking
you
to
know,
her, though.
anybody
And she
seeing
started
their
opening up to me,
mother throw
little by
themselves in
little.
front of a car
That's
and
when I
attempt to
found
kill
out
themselves,
Futaba blames
um,
herself for her mother's death.
you know, let alone succeeding, is
But why?
it's gonna fuck you over. It's
That's
gonna
what
screw you
she
up like
told me.
massively
I wanted
badly.
to know what led her to believing that. But
So
I
basically,
decided not to
yeah,
rub salt in the wound.
ever since that day, Futaba has pretty
Then,
much shut herself in
few
a room
months
and
ago, she started
doesn't
getting
really
real
want to talk
scared.
to her.
Even when
to
nothing was
anyone.
happening, she'd say things like, "I hear voices," and "Mom is looking at me."
Visual and auditory
Yeah, it's been a few.
hallucinations.
For the
taking
last few
Futaba to
months,
a
she's
doctor?
been having visual and auditory
wanted to,
hallucinations.
But she refused. Even when I had a doctor come, she locked herself away.
But Yusuke has a good
Since
point
then,
there. Why didn't you take her to a doctor?
She's
Well,
become
she
what you'd
didn't want
call
to.
a shut-in. She won't take a single step outside the house.
She doesn't want to
or
go
even
see a
try
doctor,
to see
so
other people.
can't force her, I guess.
What about you?
She doesn't even let me come in her
But
room.
yeah,
harsh.
so
Futaba is
Futaba's
well,
been
a
getting
unique
worse
girl.
apparently in the
She's so
last few
quick-minded
months,
that
which is probably why
conversations
she
with her
went
tend
to
jump
the
from
Phantom
one
Thieves to
topic
try
the
and,
next. It seems like she's
you know,
always coming to
get them to
conclusions
change
in
her,
head.
give her a change of
There's a
heart.
lot I don't
It
get
kind of
about
makes
her.
sense because she's probably just so
So yeah,
scared
her
and
situation is
sick
why
of
I
having
couldn't let
these
you in my house.
kind of feelings. She just wants these hallucinations and
What
all
Futaba
that
needs
to kind
is
of
a safe
stop.
place
She
where
hopes
nobody
that
will threaten her.
by the Phantom Thieves
Somewhere
changing her
she
heart,
can
then
be
maybe
at
that will go
ease.
away.
That's why
That
I
it will
won't do
disappear.
anything she doesn't
But-
want. I don't make her do anything she's unwilling to either. And again, I know that's no way for her to live. It's all I can do, though.
He's doing his best. Is
I
Sojiro.
don't know. She just asks me for things that she wants, like food or these complicated books. Well, that's that. So, can you just leave
So
her
yeah,
be?
we finally have the information that we need. And now he
Yeah,
just
yeah,
asks us
Batman.
basically,
You all had better
look,
head
you know
home
about her
soon, too.
now. Can you fucking, you know, can you just leave her alone? Don't bother with it.
Awful for
Don't
prying
bother
into
her
his
anymore,
personal
please.
affairs.
Let's just move on.
No way in hell he's abusing her.
The reason why
Makoto
Futaba
always has
wants
the
her
right
heart
opinion.
stolen must be related to what happened to her mother.
So yeah,
She'd
it
like
kind
to
of,
discard her feelings of pain, but
It
can't
kind of
do
gives
anything that
another
matters.
kind of
Will changing her heart really help her, though?
it gives another kind
She
of
may be able to stand up to Medjed.
a layer of intrigue, I suppose. Basically, it's another layer of
Hold on a
intrigue
Do
because
we even know if she has a palace? Let's check.
it's kind of like, why are they bothering to
The
try
Futaba
and
Sakura that lives at
get in contact with
Sojiro Sakura's
Futaba
house.
now?
Is that gonna be enough?
You know what I mean? Like, why is Sai being tasked with trying to get
She's got one.
get
So someone can have a
Futaba away
palace, even
from
if they're not evil? Hey, Morgana.
Futaba away from Sojiro
Where's
now?
Morgana?
I haven't seen him for some
Is
time.
there something more
So, ever since we went inside Boss's
to it
house?
than that? And I think we find
Somewhere
out
around
later
there.
on that
He'll
they're.
be fine though. He's a cat after all.
It's never
Trains are gonna
categorically
be shutting
said.
down for the
We
night
find
soon,
out
so
a
we should
lot
probably
more
be heading
about that a
home.
bit later on into the game.
We have to go to school in the morning after
Um,
all.
So yeah,
Oh, right. The urgent
we
assembly.
know that Futaba, but we've
assembly?
done the test now. We know that
What about
Futaba, who lives in Sojiro's house, has a
Fusion been
hit.
garnering
We just
a
need
lot of
to
attention ever since Medjed called
find
out
out
the
what
Phantom
the
Thieves.
place
So they need to
that
remind
she's
us
in
not to
is
say
for her.
arbitrary stuff
Once we
online and
find
add more
that
fuel to
out,
the fire.
we can enter
We gotta
her
meet up for
palace
every
and see if
goddamn
we
little
can do
thing.
anything to help her.
Talk about a pain in the ass.
I mean, it is our fault.
Anyway, let's contact each other afterward.
So yeah, we've got to get to. So we can't do it immediately. We've got to, because tomorrow we've got to go to our
No way in hell.
assembly at school
The reason why
to do with the
Futaba
Phantom
wants her heart
Thieves.
stolen
And as
must be
Ryuji said
related
there,
to what
pain in the
happened
ass,
to her
but
mother.
as An said,
So
kind
she'd
of our
like to
fault though.
discard her
So we
feelings
can't
of
really
pain,
complain about it too
but
much.
Can't do anything about it herself.
Will changing her heart really help
Yeah,
her,
so we
though?
finally know what
If
the
we can
whole
help
reason
her,
why
we
Futaba
may
wants
be
her
able to
heart
stand
changed.
up to Medjed.
Because she's just like
Hold on a sec.
dealing with all these
You know if she has a
hallucinations. She's
palace?
got dealing with
Let's
this pain of losing her mother
The Futaba
and all this kind of
Sakura
thing,
that
and
lives
just
at
wants it all to
Sojiro
go away,
Sakura's
which
house.
really
Is that
does
gonna be enough?
make a lot of sense, I suppose.
She's got one.
We'll see more about
So
it later.
someone can have a palace even if they're not evil? Hey, Morgana.
That's kind of, yeah, Morgana's in her room. I like that little sequence there. But anyway, this is also kind of brings up another point, which is basically up to this point we've only seen that evil assholes have, you know, palaces. Futaba is really the first one who, she's not a bad person. She's just has, but she still has a palace. It's pretty much, the palace isn't for someone who's evil. It's someone who has very twisted desires, or has a very twisted psychology. And so in her case, it's the fact that, you know, her mother died in front of her, and that has screwed her up mentally to the point where she has created a palace for herself, because of, you know, trying to deal with Futaba, trying to deal with
Okay.
like her mother's suicide in front of her. She's kind of completely, to put it lightly, completely messed up and screwed up in the head. And so that's how she can have a palace and have a twisted cognition, while at the same time not being a evil asshole. It's the first time they really do that, which I think is it's a nice little change of pace.
One of these palaces?
It's a nice
While
change of
Medjed
pace,
was
and it kind of
targeting you, you chose to deal with
establishes the
someone
point
completely
that
unrelated
you
to
don't
them?
have to be evil to have one of these things. So,
Then how was Medjed? What you said about the Sakura family generally falls in line with our investigation. It appears you aren't feeding us a false testimony.
yeah, and this is kind of
You have quite the wit.
the thing here. It's at this
Very
point
well, let's
now, I
continue.
think, where
We've
Sai
yet to
kind of
determine how
finally
the
starts
Phantom
to be
Thieves dealt
like,
with Medjed, seeing as they are
yeah, you're.
unseen. If you tell
I
me
don't
something
think you're
coherent,
bullshitting
I may
me
be a
here.
little
I
more
think this is
willing to
you're
believe.
telling me the truth, and she starts to believe us a lot more. Yeah.
All right.
So the rank goes up to rank 2 with Sai,
Still, to
the
think the
prosecutor.
Phantom Thieves would have their hideout in the home of Wakaba Ishiki's daughter. What a coincidence. No. Perhaps it's fate. Regardless, we don't have time to
We'll
waste.
find out more
Continue
about
with your story.
Wakaba Ishiki a bit later on in the game. During Futaba's palace infiltration, we find out that there's a lot more to her, and she has a lot more to do with the main plot than meets the eye. like I say, Futaba's section of the game is probably the most interesting in the whole game, at least to me. It's a really fun part to go through.
Seriously?
And it's very interesting. I like it.
I can't.
Yeah, it's just more of this talking about Medjed, keeping the pressure up, while at the same time talking about this bullshit assembly. So let's get going, shall we? Do we see the assembly? I can't remember. No, we don't. It's just finished.
Huh? Did you have school too, Yusuke?
I'm doing laundry, so these are the only clothes I had to wear.
You really should buy a couple more outfits.
How fortunate.
Come now, we didn't gather here to make small talk, now did we?
I love that.
Then I'll start. It looks like Futaba
My apologies.
was listening in on LeBlanc.
I love that reaction from Alan there.
Why
Yeah,
would she
you
want to
should buy
listen
some
in
more
on the
clothes.
cafe?
I have no idea.
It's just like Boss
So yeah,
said.
basically
She's
now
tough nut to
Morgana
crack.
In
has
any
found out
case,
as well that
her
she's
hacking
basically
skills will be
bugged
absolutely necessary if we wish to stay
Sojiro's
Medjed.
cafe so
Going
she
by
can
what she has
hear
told
in on
us,
it, listen in on
we
everything.
may even be able to identify who
I
they
can't
are.
remember if they actually
You'll have to trust
address
your
it
skills
as
for
to
now.
whether, you know what I mean, like
Anyway,
whether
we
they
found out that
address
Futaba
the
has a
fact that
palace.
she,
But can someone who isn't
the
evil
reason
have one?
why she bugs the
That
cafe,
doesn't
I think
matter.
it's just
A
pretty much
palace is
because,
the materialization of distorted
she can't
cognitions
really,
brought about by strong desires. That's
you
all.
know, because of
Just
what
so
she's
happens
dealing
that
with,
a
she
lot of
can't
warped
really
people
go
turn out
outside.
evil. She's
And
so
maybe while
young,
she's
though.
in
Pain she's
at
gone through
home
must be the
alone,
cause
she
of her distortion.
wants to kind of hear what
Maybe that has something to
Sojiro's
do with why she
doing,
calls herself Alibaba.
if you know what I mean, like
According to the chief's story,
so that she
Futaba
has something to kind
auditory
of
and visual hallucinations,
put her
right?
mind,
There's a
you know,
chance
take her
those are
mind and
related
make
to
her
some
feel as if
important
she's not
memories she's holding.
alone in the
It's
house,
hard to
that she can still
explain,
hear
but
Sojiro's
those
voice and that kind of
memories
thing.
may have been warped by the
Um,
distortions.
But it's another reason why.
Basically, we just gotta steal her treasure,
But once again, it's
right?
something that kind of
Well, yeah.
we kind of fuck up
So do we
with.
all agree about
Not that you'd
taking on
imagine,
Futaba's
you'd
palace?
think this
She's
place could be
asked us to
bugged.
do
Maybe
so.
we shouldn't talk about
I don't
Phantom
think
Thief
that
business
part is an
here.
issue. If
But
we heal Futaba's heart,
it's yet
it will
again,
not
it's
only
just
help Boss,
a
but
real
she can then assist us with
coincidence that we just so happen to
I
talk
agree.
about it
I've been
in
wondering
the
about how Boss said a lot happened
the,
after Futaba's
you know,
mom
in
died too.
in the
Magic. Hold
cafe.
on a second. Our investigation
And
of her
she just
palace
happens
may not go
to
like anything we've
to
done
find
up
out
to this
about it.
point.
Because if that wasn't the case,
that?
we'd be fucked with Medjet.
Having an individual
So it's
ask
kind
you
of
to steal their
a
heart
nice,
is an
it's a big,
extremely irregular
it's a pretty
case.
big
There's
coincidence
no
that it just
telling what
happens
the
to
palace ruler's disposition will
help
be
us
like,
here.
or the
but
distortion that'll be there. We
what
may
can you
run
do?
into some unforeseen situations. Do you still want to go in?
So yeah, this is basically Morgana saying that this is
Alright.
pretty much a very different
Let's just make sure
situation
we're
compared to
cautious.
our last cases.
Well,
Our previous
let's get
cases, you
cracking
know,
on
we
those
knew
keywords,
what we
huh?
were getting ourselves into
The
because,
ones we have at the moment are
or
Futaba Sakura
you know, we could
and Sojiro Sakura's house.
imagine
we got
what
the
we were getting
who
ourselves
and the
into
where,
because, you know,
so all that's left is the what,
evil
right?
asshole, 3 evil assholes. We kind of
Let's
know
try
that
going
they're
to their
gonna
house first.
have palaces that are gonna
Boss is
cause
busy
us
running the
harm,
cafe,
and
isn't he?
you know, people in
We
these palaces
should
are
make
gonna
sure he
cause
doesn't
harm,
suspect
that
me
kind of
either.
thing. With
Warped
Futaba's
memories, huh? I'll be able to remember everything
situation,
if I
it
turn back
means
into a
that it's
human, right?
more difficult because we don't really know what we're going to run into, whether her shadow is
Has
going
to
to
be
want
the
to
case.
cause us
I
problems or not, because she
definitely want this
wants to
mission
kind of be
succeed. If we can retrieve Futaba's memories,
cured, she wants to have a heart
then I
taken,
bet
but at
we
the
can
same
get mine back,
time,
too. In any
she's
case,
going through
it's
some
not every day you stumble
fairly
upon a hacker
traumatic
like her
stuff,
around.
so it's
You really do have
it's
a gift,
a lot
don't you?
more kind of up in the air as to what's going to happen.
You sure live up
Like
to
I
my
say,
expectations.
Futaba's dungeon is the palace. Sorry, palace. Whatever, palace dungeon. But her palace is probably the most interesting in the whole game to me.
Alright.
It's really great. But anyway,
Hey, they went on without us.
rank up with Morgana.
hurry
We
and catch
now
up to them.
get to. I think we now get to make all of the infiltration tools. So every single infiltration tool is now available to us. We can make them all. So kind of useful, but I don't really use infiltration tools all that much. The only ones I use are the lockpicks. That's pretty much it. I don't really need them for anything else. There is a gas that you can make, which stops you from which reduces the wanted level in a palace. But to be honest, you don't really fucking need it. You shouldn't be seen by any of the bad guys anyway. So here we go.
Hold on.
So basically, we're working out what the fuck we should do. So Morgana's going to unlock the door, and we're gonna get in there and try and talk to Futaba to see if we can find out what she sees this house as, so we can go into her palace.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the logic here is that she's might be
This
willing to
is
talk to
Futaba's
us.
room.
So let's see.
Futaba-chan,
How
you're
can
in
you
there,
tell?
right? There's no answer. Futaba-chan, are you there? I'm sorry for being startled and screaming yesterday. It was so dark that I got scared.
No reaction whatsoever.
This is gonna be hard.
You're listening, right?
Hold on, Ryuji.
Alibaba? Is it Alibaba?
Yay, we can. She's texting
Why
us.
is she only reacting to that name?
Why are you here?
You're Futaba Sakura, aren't you?
She's not responding again.
Does she not like us saying her name?
So yeah, it looks
don't
like
have
she'll
time
only
to
respond to
dally
the
around.
name Alibaba.
We need her keyword
Um,
before dealing with Alibaba's identity. We want to learn more about you. If we don't do so, we can't steal your heart. The reason why we came here is because we need the keyword to enter your palace. That's why we want to talk with Futaba Sakura herself, and not Alibaba. You don't have to show yourself, just answer some questions for us. Chat messages are fine. Alright then. Our
Yeah.
leader, the
Okay.
guy who lives in
We're
the
getting
Bronze
somewhere
Island,
now, ladies and
wants to
gentlemen.
speak with
We
you.
can
We're counting on
talk
you.
over text.
Try and get a keyword out of her.
Okay. So we've got to talk.
Looks like you should
What's
ask
this house
something
to you?
different.
Yeah, pretty much it's just like, alright, that didn't work.
Looks like you should ask something different.
Damn it. Yeah, there's certain ones.
Die?
I'm going to die here. Why do you think that?
Tomb?
There we go. We now have the keyword. This
Try
place
entering
is
tomb.
her tomb. She considers this place her tomb, which is kind of fucking morbid. But
We got it!
yeah, we now know where we're
Yes.
going.
It was plenty.
We now have
You
access-
haven't forgotten your promise
we
of
can now-
helping us if we complete your request, right?
So now we can head straight off into the
Well then,
palace.
Let's hurry up and go. And clicky.
You idiot!
Ryuji.
Activate it here!
Oh shit. Yeah, by the way, this is incredibly stupid from Ryuji because Futaba's just the other side of that door. And she could have been dragged in with us. Fortunately, she wasn't. Because I don't think it's ever been established whether someone can enter their own palace.
Yeah, we see that.
And so, yeah,
What the?
that could have been
Our
really bad.
clothes are still
Ryuji,
the
once
same.
again, not thinking and fucking
Futaba
shit up.
herself is asking us to steal her heart. It'd be odd if she saw us as a threat. If she doesn't see us as an enemy, then your clothes don't change.
She has a good point.
That's how it works.
He has a good point, rather.
But more
Fuck.
importantly,
Keep
I
doing that
told
one,
you to
Morgana.
be cautious. Why'd you activate it like that?
Is that why we ended up in a desert? Where's the tomb? Oh, it's so damn hot here.
Even though we entered
Yeah, and this is
right
the
in
first
front
one
of
as
her
well where
room,
you're
we
not
didn't end up
directly
inside it.
outside the
She must
the
really want to keep
the
people
palace
away from
itself.
her.
You have a bit of a distance to
I
go.
see.
I don't really know what the reason is
Unique
for that.
feeling
I
this place has. It's the complete opposite of Kanashiro's bank.
the only thing I can think of is that
Let's hurry up and get going. Where's the palace?
maybe she
Is
Futaba's
it that way?
shadow wants to keep us away from. It's trying to
Oh,
keep
yeah,
people away
something
from
shiny.
it because it's like a
Tomb in the desert.
tomb. an Egyptian
I see.
tomb wants to keep us
Anyway,
away from it,
let's make our way
so
there.
that's the only thing I can
Isn't
think
that
of,
kinda
really.
far?
But
Are we gonna
it's another
walk?
thing which makes this
Of course not. My
infiltration
paws will get burned.
vastly different from the other palaces that we've experienced so far.
I'll make sure to put the AC on full
But
blast.
thankfully, Morgana can turn into a car.
You're so considerate.
At least we got AC. That's something. That's something to be
Alright,
happy about.
Let's roll.
So yeah, but that's going to be it for this part of Persona 5. Join me next time when we'll be making our first entry into Futaba's palace. And we'll be finding out a bit more about what the palace is and what we're going to have to deal with. So join me next time for the next part of Persona 5. See you next time.